One of our Facebook listeners on Facebook asked about your comparison between abortion and racism. You've seemed to suggest recently that appointing a judge who opposes abortion rights is akin to supporting judicial nominees who hold racist views, suggesting there's no moral other side to the abortion debate. Is that what you believe?
So the point I was making is that we believe in settled precedent in this country, and we have settled precedent to make sure we value everyone, and we don't discriminate based on race, gender, and religious backgrounds. Mm-hmm. If you were a judge who wants to be a justice and you believed that you should upend or reverse 40 years of precedent on seeing racism as against the Constitution. If you don't support recent precedent that LGBT equality is important, that marriage equality is a human right. If you look at Roe v. Wade and say, I don't believe that women have a constitutional right to privacy, you are upending settled precedent. And more than that, you're upending the social compact we have as a country, that we have long past decided as a country that we don't believe in sexism, racism, homophobia over the last several decades. And I just believe that this is settled precedent. It is law of the land. And if you as a presidential candidate believe that you should upend law of the land that's been there for 40 years, it is so disruptive to the American culture and our views of the world that it's going backwards in a way that I just don't think is legitimate. Mm-hmm. So it's an issue of what kind of judges and justices do you appoint? And to me, as someone at the forefront of women's rights and the question of do we value women, imagine a judge who said, I really don't believe in equal pay for equal work. I really believe that that we shouldn't have gender equity or gender equality. I don't believe that LGBTQ Americans have a right to be treated equally. I don't believe that Muslims have a right to be treated equally. Those are so contrary to how we think about the world that I just am not going to appoint a judge or justice who doesn't believe women deserve equality.
Fair enough, but there's a question of equality, there's a question of morality, and then there's a question of law. I mean, the reason we have some things like civil disobedience because the law doesn't always line up with morality. So the question I think the listener was going for was that, is it fair to say someone who does not believe in abortion under any circumstances is as equally morally reprehensible as someone who holds racist views?
My statement had nothing to do with your personal views. Nothing to do with your personal
law?
views.
Is that what you're saying?
It has to do with settled precedent, and the question and my answer was specific to what kind of judges I would appoint. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's legitimate to appoint a judge who doesn't believe in women's equality. I don't, because it's settled precedent. You can have whatever religious view, which is the whole point of our constitutional democracy. We believe in the separation of church and state. We believe in freedom of religion. We believe in freedom of speech. And so you have those freedoms to have your perspective on how you see the world, whether it's women's rights or gay rights or issues of race and all of that. You are entitled to your views and your beliefs. But when we talk about settled precedent and we talk about law of the land, if your goal is to upend 40 years of precedent, that women have relied on a right to privacy for 40 years, and you all of a sudden say, I don't really believe in that, you are changing the social contract that we have with women in America. You're changing it. You're saying you, women of America, you don't deserve bodily autonomy. We can force you to take that pregnancy to term, even if it was conceived from rape or incest, even if you will die in childbirth. We have the highest maternal mortality rate in the industrialized world. I mean, it's shocking. So you're telling America's women you don't have human rights. You don't have civil rights, you don't have bodily autonomy, and you don't have agency over the most important decision you will make. 1 out of 4 women in America access abortion services. Most of the women who do are already mothers. So you're making a decision about, can I survive this pregnancy? Is this a pregnancy that is possible for me to take to term? These are personal decisions, they're healthcare decisions, they're economic decisions, they're moral decisions. And a woman has a right to make all those decisions. And if you are telling me today that women in America don't have that right, I think you're so backward looking that those judges and justices are not the type of people we should be appointing because it's too backward looking.